bright today. Joy coming my way. In my right mind, gonna praise all the time.
Good evening, and welcome to another episode of A Brighter Day podcast. This evening, I'd like to talk with you briefly about self-authentication. You know, when my children were younger, in particular my daughters, there was a movie that they appreciated. It was called Princess Diaries. That's what it was called, Princess Diaries. And the movie was about a young princess who was having a challenge in school, being bullied. And one of the most poignant statements that came out of that movie was the princess, before she got out of her car, the butler said to her, "No one can make you feel inferior without your permission." That was a poignant statement. Another example of what we're going to talk about, self-authentication, is Whitney Houston, Miss Houston, in the movie The Bodyguard. At her funeral, unfortunately she passed a few years ago, Mr. Kevin Costner was sharing how Miss Houston had some self-esteem issues. She didn't know that she was good enough to play the part. I thought to myself, here's a world-renowned musician, and yet even she had self-esteem issues. Full disclosure, as we will do on this podcast, full disclosure, transparency, I suffered with self-esteem issues, challenges when I was younger, coming up through school, bullied some, before it was called bullying, I think. I struggled with self-esteem. And then as I moved into college, I had no focus. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And it was challenging. And ladies and gentlemen, I received a breakthrough when I decided to take responsibility for what I could control. I recognized that life is tough. Many people have come through life with tougher circumstances than I. And to look myself in the mirror and say, okay, James, what can you control? And then along the way, I developed some fundamental tenets, principle. And that is, move with principle. Don't be so concerned about winning a popularity contest. Understand a clear demarcation between right and wrong. And as I began to move, and that became my new vector, I began to get principled, and I knew right from wrong, and I was starting to move and have a direction, focus, because I wasn't really concerned about what other people thought. It was about what I was doing. In effect, I was self-authenticating. I was authentic enough to move in the direction I needed to move. And let me just share with you, ladies and gentlemen, you are great. Never let anyone marginalize your contribution. The Word of God says that He knew us when we were in the womb, before we were even conceived. That says that you are special. That's what that says. And no human can say differently. Well, they can try. But Jehovah reigns. So you are great. And I share that with my grandchildren. I share that with my children. Never let anyone determine your worth. You are worth more than you know. I had to let that one sit just for a minute because I really struggled with that. And I came to grips with it, and I began to experience some upward mobility because of those fundamental tenets. Now, you can develop your own rationale for moving forward. I was just sharing mine. But the main point is you are worth it. So remember, no matter what the day holds, no matter what challenges you've had to face, you can always make it a brighter day. We'll see you next time, next Wednesday at 11:59 p.m. God bless.
It's gonna be a brighter day. Joy coming my way.